Welcome, dear viewers, to an engaging exploration of the two main political parties in Canada. Politics isn't just for the politicians, it's a pivotal part of our everyday lives and influences the very fabric of our society. Today we turn our attention to the Conservative and Liberal parties, the dominant political forces shaping the Canadian landscape. These two entities, each with their unique perspectives and policies, play a crucial role in steering the nation's course. Stay with us as we delve into the specifics of these two political giants. The Conservative Party historically has been known for its fiscal conservatism. When we talk about fiscal conservatism, we're referring to a political economic philosophy concerning fiscal policy and fiscal responsibility. It advocates for lower taxes, reduced government spending, and minimal government debt. The idea is to create an economic environment where businesses and individuals can thrive. In practice, the last time the Conservative Party was at the helm, our national debt was sitting at $612 billion. Now that might sound like an astronomical figure, but in the grand scheme of things, it's quite moderate, especially when we compare it to the current national debt under the Liberal Party, which stands at a staggering $1.2 trillion. How does this all translate to the average Canadian? Well, lower national debt means less taxation in the long run, leaving more money in your pocket and less money for our children and grandchildren to pay back later. It can also mean more stability in the economy, which is good for everyone, from the small business owner to the big corporations. However, it's worth noting that economic policies can't be viewed in isolation. They're part of a larger, complex system that includes social policies, environmental considerations, and a whole slew of other factors. So that's a snapshot of the Conservative Party's economic stance, but what about the Liberals? Shifting gears, let's discuss the Liberal Party's economic policies. The Liberals, unlike their Conservative counterparts, tend to lean towards progressive fiscal policies that aim to stimulate economic growth and social equality. They often prioritize public spending on social programs, infrastructure, and clean energy. Now let's add some numbers into the mix. Currently, under the Liberals, the national debt stands at a staggering $1.2 trillion. Yes, that's trillion with a T. It's a number that's hard to wrap our heads around, but it's an integral part of understanding the party's financial approach. One might wonder, why such a hefty debt? Well, the Liberals believe in the power of investment. They invest in areas they believe will yield long-term benefits for Canadians. This includes sectors like healthcare, education, and the environment. They argue that such investments, though they may increase debt in the short term, will lead to a more robust and equitable economy in the future. However, critics argue that this high level of debt could lead to economic instability and that the burden of repayment may fall on the average Canadian, especially when there's no end in sight, and after almost 10 years, we are no better off economically. Maybe it needs 10 more years then? This is a debate that continues to shape Canadian politics. In summary, the Liberals' economic policies are centered around investing in public services and infrastructure, with the aim of fostering long-term economic growth and social equality. But this approach comes with a hefty price tag, as evidenced by our current national debt. Now that we've looked at both parties' economic stances, let's compare them side by side. With both parties' economic policies laid out, it's time to draw some comparisons. When we look at the Conservative Party's economic approach, we see a focus on fiscal responsibility and balanced budgets. They tend to lean towards policies that promote business growth and investment, believing that a thriving private sector is key to a strong economy. The last time the Conservative Party was in power, the national debt stood at $612 billion. On the other hand, the Liberal Party's economic policies often prioritize social programs and public infrastructure, which they argue can stimulate economic growth and improve quality of life. They are more open to running deficits to fund these initiatives. Currently, under the Liberal Party, the national debt is around $1.2 trillion. Now, these numbers might seem staggering, but it's important to remember that national debt isn't inherently good or bad. It's a tool that governments can use to invest in the country's future or to stabilize the economy during downturns. What matters is how this debt is managed and whether it leads to sustainable growth, which some may argue is certainly not at the moment. Comparing the two, it's clear that the Conservative Party's approach is to keep the national debt as low as possible, often through spending cuts and austerity measures. While this might lead to a lower national debt, critics argue that it can also slow economic growth and reduce the quality of public services. The Liberal Party, conversely, is more willing to take on debt to fund initiatives they believe will stimulate the economy and improve Canadians' lives. This approach can lead to increased national debt, but supporters argue that the investments made can pay off in the long run, rather really long run, through economic growth and improved social welfare. These contrasting approaches reflect the party's different philosophies and priorities. Whether you lean towards the fiscal conservatism of the Conservative Party or the social investment approach of the Liberal Party will depend on your own views about what makes an economy strong and what government's role in it should be. As we've seen, both parties have distinct approaches to managing Canada's economy and national debt. In our journey through Canadian politics, we've discovered some fascinating differences between the Conservative and Liberal parties. You see, Liberals approach problems like a college student with a brand new expensive MacBook, open-minded, ready to explore endless possibilities and occasionally getting distracted by shiny new ideas. Whereas Conservatives tackle issues like a grandparent with a flip phone, reliable, steadfast, and occasionally baffled by all the newfangled tech, but leaving you with money under the mattress. The Liberals have a more relaxed approach to spending, and under them our debt has soared to $1.2 trillion. The Conservatives, on the other hand, are known for their fiscal discipline. Were in power when our national debt was $612 billion. Remember, understanding these differences is the first step towards making an informed choice. So let's keep exploring, keep questioning. Come on, join us on this journey. Hit that subscribe button. Let's explore some more.